How on earth do you know how to develop the right budget for your renovation and your lifestyle? Stay tuned. Hi, this is not the location and the people you were just seeing. One of the people is the same, but we're missing Jamie. We had such a great conversation in this video that I split it into two pieces that I wanted to let you know now. So look forward to part 2. I'll remind you at the end. And next week, you can view the amazing part 2 to this video. Enjoy. Hello, everybody. We are here at Freedom 55 Financial on the weekend. So there's nobody here. We could do cartwheels through the hallways and we wouldn't encounter anyone yelling at us. This is the lovely Jamie Madigan, and we're here to talk to you about what to know when you're developing your reno budget. And we have a lot of myths we want to bust.
Yes, we do. So where should we start?
When we were having our pre-video chat, I was talking about how there's some amazing things Jamie's brought up about renovations and about finances in general. There's a lot of things that you want to think about. And actually what we were just chatting about was the questions we get about developing a budget. And I was saying that when I get a lot of people saying, well, how much does this cost? I don't know how much I want to spend on this. And you were saying,
if they come to you and say, I've got $50,000, I want to do this, is that a good place to start?
That's an excellent place to start, because the alternative is, like, I've done volunteer experiences at trade shows. So 15 minutes free advice. And I've done shifts that way. And one of the questions I hate, do not ask me this question, how much does a bathroom renovation cost? From $20,000 to $1 million. What? That's a really big ballpark. You're right, it is. Because it could cost, I think we might be able to squeeze 10 grand out of it and do a nice job. But up to $1 million. It really depends on everything. Your toilet could cost a couple $100 or $3 grand.
Depending on what you want it to do for you.
Right. I literally have a client getting a very expensive toilet with literally all the bells and whistles. That's her priority. But that means that's a different kind of bathroom than getting the cheapest base model of a toilet and just throwing subway tiles on the walls. But yes, so when you come to me, you say, Melissa, I have $50,000, then we have a starting point. So you say, oh, I want to do my ground floor. And I'll say, wait, that's not going to work. We're not going to get your whole ground floor in that, but this is what we could do. We could facelift your kitchen. We could get new furniture. We could do this. So it helps me with a better starting point versus there's a lot more work on my end. If you don't have any idea what you want to spend, we now then have to pay me to do some digging, which I can do. If you want to know what you love is going to cost, and this is like your forever home project, that's a whole other conversation we can have where we can do the proper planning out and budgeting. But on your end, when you have one of your clients is chatting with you about their finances and happens to mention, I really want to renovate my ground floor and I want to start putting some money aside from everything for that. What are some of the first things you're going to start talking to them about?
So the first question I ask is, do you have a budget for that? Much like you,
Right.
the odd person doesn't come to me to say, hey, Jamie, I've got $50,000. I want to renovate my home. Where should I start? Otherwise, I would say, hey, you should call Melissa. That's a great starting point. She can walk you through what $50,000 could potentially do for you. And is it in line with what you're thinking? Or do we have to save up some more? So much like you, when a client or prospect mentions that I want to do a home renovation, my first question is always, okay, great. How much do you think it's going to cost? Have you talked to anybody such as an interior designer, tradesperson, shopped around for quotes, or is this still a dream in the early stages?
Right.
Does that sound familiar?
Yes, it does sound a bit familiar. Some of the things I wanted to touch on were Just basic financial
Right.
things. So if someone isn't really lucky to be, I literally have this in one of my lovely client reviews, one of the moneyed set that has just money lying around to do renovation. A lot of us have to do some borrowing, or we have to start saving up for it, or maybe you take some money from your mortgage, or you take other things like that. Some of the things I love that you touch on is your lifestyle affects how much money you should be borrowing. And I want you to dig a little bit deeper into that.
Sure. No, that's a great point. So whenever clients are talking to me about saving money, projects such as a renovation or whatever, or anything that we do when it comes to financial planning, it always comes down to cash flow. What does their lifestyle look like? What are they doing? How much money are they making? How much money are they spending? Do they understand how they're spending it and
Right.
what's left at the end of the day?
Totally guilty. Everyone must have been guilty, even if you're really good with money. You were guilty of this in some way at some point.
Oh, yeah.
I know everyone's had I was literally just, I watch a lot of YouTube. I don't really watch cable anymore. I know a lot of people do that now. I was watching one of the shows I love to watch. He was talking about how he literally canceled a credit card because he didn't know what some of his monthly charges were for. And he's like, I feel really guilty about that. And I was like, that's fine. You're just canceling the billing cycle for some people. But I'm like, that's the case for some people.
Right.
You have stuff coming out of your account every month and you're not even sure. In our case, we've reviewed many times over the past year or so. What are we using? Like, we had a subscription service for one of the other services. And we're like, we never use this. Why are we paying money for something we never use?
Right.
But the great part of that lifestyle I like is it's not just, it's definitely the cash flow, but it's also looking at the other side. So how much are you spending is the important part. And it's not, okay, now we're going to cut it in half and then we're going to start saving. It's what's realistic for your lifestyle.
Right.
To start borrowing money for. Did you want to touch on that?
Yeah. So great points, Melissa. So that's exactly typically where I always start with everyone, regardless of what we're looking to do, is take them through a budget. Something like 4% of Canadians actually have a budget, even less actually maintain that budget.
Right.
So the first exercise with any new client or prospect that I'm talking to is always a budget where we break down the money aspect.
Right.
People typically always know how much they're making. They don't really understand how much they're spending and how they're spending it. So to your point, we're always looking for opportunities of where can we either cut things all together, such as cable. That's the first question I start asking people these days. Cable, it's usually bundled in with internet, cell phone, other things, but it's typically $100 or more.
Yeah.
And if people are streaming Netflix, YouTube, Crave, whatever, why are you paying that fee?
Right.
Like, I've got an Android box. It's all I need. Now for the price of 1 month of cable, I get a year's worth of service. So it's taking a look at stuff like that. Another instance that usually comes up is gym membership. So I'll ask, are you going, or is this a pay as you don't go membership?
I have to know. I have to know. Does this make or break some client relationships when you're like, so are you actually using the gym?
It's an honest question about finances. It makes no difference to me if you're going or not.
Right.
Hopefully you are from a health perspective, but at the end of the day, if you're not, then let's cancel that, save you some money.
Right.
And then to your point, so that's typically the first point where we always start is the budgeting exercise, get a better understanding of, are we currently saving money at the end of the month, and could we be saving more? The next is looking at different sources of money. So I'll ask, are you going, or is this a pay as you don't go membership? It's an honest question about finances. It makes no difference to me if you're going or not. Hopefully you are from a health perspective, but at the end of the day, if you're not, then let's cancel that, save you some money. And then to your point, so that's typically the first point where we always start is the budgeting exercise, get a better understanding of, are we currently saving money at the end of the month, and could we be saving more? available to us for larger projects. You touched on two great ones. So the first would be a line of credit. So does the client have a line of credit? If so, is it unsecured, meaning that not tied against anything, no secured assets? What's the interest rate on it? Another option is a secured line of credit, which is usually tied into the home, also known as a home equity line of credit.
Yep.
Typically, the interest rates are a bit better on that, meaning lower. So cheaper to borrow money off of. You also touched on mortgage refinance. Right now, mortgage rates are super low. We just dropped our rates again last week. So if you need money, if you've got equity in your home, now is a great time to refinance, or at least look at the possibility of refinancing. Because rates are so low, we could take equity out of the house, put it towards the renovation project, maybe help them to get closer to that love instead of just the basic.
Right, exactly.
Not just the lipstick on a pig. And as long as the refinance or borrowing from your line of credit doesn't have a big impact on your cash flow, then those are some great potential options to look at how we could help to find the budget or the money to move forward with the renovation project.
Right. And so one thing I want to break down as a member of the public is when you say cash flow, part of what he means and what I was saying about lifestyle is you can't do a $200,000 budget if you can't afford those payments. Sure, you can say, "Oh, sure, I won't go out to eat anymore. I'll work out at home. We can cut out going to the movies. We're not going to go on the vacation next month." Like, that's not sustainable. This is why I asked Jamie to do this video, and I want you to talk about when a client starts talking about what I would consider crazy things like that, and because I know you're the person that would say, wait. I admire your enthusiasm. However, let's look at how long this is going to go on. And I know then it's all part of the discussion as to what are our alternatives to you basically giving up everything you love in life in order to do this renovation, and is it worth it?
Right. No, those are great points. And again, something that I always look at. So yeah, when I refer to cash flow, what I'm really talking about is your lifestyle. So cash flow to me means when we look at how much you make, take away how much you spend, what's left over.
Right.
Hopefully that's a positive number, meaning you have positive cash flow. Then we can do something with that. We can put it away to save. So if you have no budget for the renovation and you're like, "Hey, Melissa, I want to renovate my washroom, my ground floor, my kitchen," then a great place to start is have that chat with you, get some numbers. What does good, better, best look like? Come and talk to me. And then we can see what do you have now, which may be zero, maybe a bit. And then how long would it take for us to build up that good, better, best?
Right.
And again, if we're making any changes, canceling things, eliminating things, those have to be something you can live with,
Right.
that aren't going to impact your lifestyle. So I'm not suggesting that we do an extreme makeover because chances are that's not going to sustain, much like me and how I approach my life. For an example, back in 2011, I was 230 pounds, 30% body fat. I'm now 175 pounds in around 15% body fat. That was a slow and steady transition of cutting things out of my diet, eating healthier. If I had cut out all the crap day one, I would have been miserable.
Still be 230 pounds.
Maybe 250 plus.
Right.
But yeah, that's hopefully gives you a better understanding of what I mean.
Right.
In that it's got to be gradual. And I forget, I'm trying to think of my saying that I have when it comes to this, but Everything in moderation.
Right.
So slow and steady changes that we can actually stick with.
Right. Thank you very much for joining us for part 1 of this video. I'm sorry it's not an integrated outro. As I said in the beginning of the video, we had such a great time shooting it that we went way over our normal 15 minutes. We went to twice that. So we split it into 2 videos so that you can digest each in piece rather than having to slog through the whole 30 minutes. So thank you very much for watching this week. Please definitely look forward to part 2. There's more amazing content where that came from. I'm very grateful for everyone's support at all times. And if you have any suggestions for new videos, please let me know. If you're a partner in the industry and you'd love to be featured like Jamie was here, or Fody, or Leo, or Margot, please let me know. I'm happy to do a guest video with you as well. And have a great day and keep smiling.